For now, though, let's turn to Mali, where at least 4 soldiers and 8 suspected jihadists have been killed in an ambush. Security forces had been on patrol in the central region of Ségou, monitoring the area during the election period. Now, some voters have been prevented from participating in the polls due to security concerns. Authorities say the death toll is expected to rise as 2 army vehicles remain unaccounted for. Well, staying with Mali and the aftermath of Sunday's elections, a third party in the presidential race has claimed to have made it to a runoff vote. Now, the announcement is adding further confusion to the polls. Voting was unable to take place at 644 polling stations due to security. There's no indication if these voters will be given an opportunity to cast their ballots. Candidates are forbidden by law to announce results before their official release. Mali's President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta and his main rival, Soumaïla Cissé, have also announced that they're participating in a runoff later this month, even though no official results have been announced just yet.
What really matters for us is the conditions in which the vote happened, and we are saying today that it happened in acceptable conditions. We call on all political leaders to accept the results, but it is not up to us to comment on what one or the other is saying before the results are known.
The European Union mission renews its call on the government to publish the complete and detailed list of polling stations where the vote could not happen, for the sake of the vote integrity and transparency.
Dans un souci de transparence et de préservation de l'intégrité.
Well, let's go live now to the Malian capital of Bamako, where CGTN's Penina Karibe is standing by with an update from the country. Penina, let's start with this ambush. What is the situation following that attack in Ségou on Tuesday?
Well, Lindy, there's very little information at the moment coming out of that region. All we know is that, yes, like you mentioned, that attack did happen. But we also know that this is a very volatile region, Lindy. We've been speaking to local journalists about it, and they've been explaining it's as a region that is very prone to these attacks, very, very volatile. Of course, government has been struggling to secure these regions, Lindy. But so far, we understand that there's been no official response from the government on that attack. Very little information. In fact, to speak to the locals here in Bamako, and a lot of them acting surprised. They haven't even heard of those reports so far. But there's a heightened sense of security here in Bamako. There's a lot of heavy security presence. The Constitutional Court, which is the one that validates the election, really, after the counting ends. There's also a lot of security around that. All the access roads to that court have been blocked, and we understand it's in anticipation of any kind of violence, Lindy.
Oh, tight security indeed. Well, Penina, turning to the elections, we understand, of course, a third candidate claiming that he's made it to the runoff, but still no official results. Just talk us through where we are in that process right now, and what are the latest results?
Well, the latest results, Lindy, indicate, but I've got to be very careful, these are not the official results. But so far what we understand is that Boubacar Keïta is in the lead. Coming in second is Soumaïla Cissé, very, very closely followed by Sheikh Modibo Diarra. Of course, we've heard from the Ministry of Territorial Administration, which is the custodian of those results, which should be announcing those results, and it did announce last night that all of those reports really are not from the ministry. Those are unofficial results. They're still insisting that up until Friday, they still have a window to continue with the counting. There have been questions why the counting has taken so long. The government had pains to explain, and saying this is because Mali is a vast country, poor infrastructure, and they've got to make sure that they get these ballot boxes from all the polling stations around the country. So they're giving that as the main reason why it's taken them this long to announce. But there have been some very interesting developments, Lindy. At this moment, as we speak, there is a press conference going on 16 of the 24 presidential candidates have come together to say there's been so many irregularities. Some polling stations, like you mentioned earlier, didn't even get to vote, and they're saying these are all the reasons why they feel it was not a credible vote, and we're waiting to see really what they will recommend. Remember, Lindy, that the election observers had actually said the vote went on smoothly. Of course, they did mention those areas that didn't vote due to insecurity. So this is a contradiction of what we largely heard from our observer monitors such as ECOWAS and the AU. Now, it's interesting to see how this is going to change the political landscape. There's speculation the country could go to a runoff. And if this happens, then a lot of people here are saying we're likely to see these 16 presidential candidates rally behind one candidate. And if indeed there is a runoff, it's likely to be a very, very tight race, Lindy.
Oh, it certainly sounds like it. Thank you so much. Penina Karibe joining us there live from Bamako. And as she says, those election results are expected by Friday.